Good to have you, Kirti, today. Kirti Tewani, she has been a voice on TikTok, on Instagram, and other social medias talking about Ayurveda and the benefits of Ayurveda. She does a lot of DIYs. She is based out of New York or Connecticut. I met her personally on internet and I was very impressed with her knowledge. Apart from everything else, the real thing that incited me to her was her video that went viral on TikTok about oil pulling. And that's how I actually reached out to her. And after years of working together now, and I felt like we need to do a podcast together. So thank you and welcome, Kirti. Please give our audience a 60-second intro of yourself, please.
Thank you. Should I say Uncle Puneet? Should I say Dr. Nanda?
No, Uncle. Let's keep it
Thank you,
Puneet
Dr.
now.
Nanda, for having me. And it's a pleasure to be on your podcast. I know it's been almost 2 years I have known you. I remember it was about December 2 years ago where you reached out to me. My name is Kirti. I'm an Ayurvedic therapist. I am also a makeup artist with over 15 years of experience. And the reason I dwelled into the world of Ayurveda is my mom and my kids. My mom, because I've seen her heal her entire life using the Vedic practices, yoga and Ayurveda. And my kids, because, as much as I appreciate the robust technology and research that we have access to right now, I do want a mix of holistic practices and modern science and raise my kids with a balance.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for your introduction. So, Kirti, we were talking, you told me you are from Spain. Can you give me a 30-second intro? How you came from Spain to US and how did you get into Ayurveda?
So I came to US. I actually got married to a New Yorker, a Yankee, about 13 years ago, a little over 13 years ago, and that's how I moved to United States in New York. And I got into Ayurveda during the pandemic because there was so much information around health, and it was very hard to debate what is right and what is not. So I actually jumped and started my own Ayurvedic supplement brand. And when I was trying to create videos around it, people would ask me more questions. And that's how I started learning and teaching Ayurveda myself.
And your mom is an Ayurvedic practitioner, and
Yes.
she actually runs a school for Ayurveda in Spain, right? And you
Correct.
speak Spanish, I'm sure?
Yes, I do speak. I am a brown girl who speaks fluent Spanish, and it comes out really handy sometimes.
Beautiful. I would love to speak that. Let's dive into some of the questions. I think our audience would be very eager to know. From your experience, you are the voice and face of most of my audience, 35, 38-year-old girl that is looking to raising kids, that is looking to ensure that she is not just drug dependent, and that is also doing a lot of preventative work, that is also using holistic methodologies to cure herself, her family, her kids, and take care of all of them, work and make a living as well. So let us talk about what is dosha.
Should we reverse it a little bit and go on what is Ayurveda first? Because I'm not
Oh,
sure.
that would be great. Why don't you start with
No.
what is Ayurveda?
So in the most simple and basic words, Ayur means life and Veda means knowledge. So now we're combining the life and knowledge together. So it's this vast system of knowledge that has existed for about 5,000, and now the claim is over 6,000 years now. So it's based on the concept of 5 elements: fire, water, ether, air, and earth, which we are most familiar with watching TVs. It's where we are surrounded. We are surrounded by these 5 elements all day, every day. And now these 5 elements are subdivided into these doshas that every time someone talks about Ayurveda, the word comes about, what is your dosha? And the subdivision is the combination of air and ether element is a Vata. The combination of fire and water element is Pitta, and the combination of water and earth is Kapha. So if you think a little bit deeper, what are the properties of air and ether? It's very empty, it's very spacious. So Vata is literally the air element. And when we talk about fire and water, this speed, it's fierce, it's fire, it's the heat. So the element of heat is described as Pitta. And Kapha is water and earth. So when we think of earth, the first thing we think about is grounding. So Kapha, they say in generally, is very grounded, is the element of being steady, stillness. And that's how we divide Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. Now, how do they impact our life? And if you think in a broader spectrum, we all have all three doshas in us, right? But one or two of the dosha is always predominant, is always dominating your life. So this premature gray hair in Ayurveda is excess heat in the body, right? That's what we say. It's the fire. So I've always been a very active person. I actually ran a few marathons, and I used to do these marathons at a wrong time. I used to train at a wrong time when the sun was at its highest peak, and that's what caused a lot of imbalances in my body. And it has taken me a long journey to kind of understand how to balance and how to do these workouts, but how to do them at a good time so they're actually beneficial for my body. So just in my case, this premature gray hair, which is technically an imbalance, happened because of these intensive workouts that I did in the Pitta time. It's in the hottest, more heated and aggravated time of the day.
Do you think we can reverse it now that you know that you got white hair, pitta? Do you think at your age, which is a ripe age where you don't have to lose your hair or get them white, what do you think? Can you reverse it with Ayurveda?
I think we can pause it. Reversing, we can reverse some of it. And I believe I have reversed some of it because I have made videos showing people how like the tip that fell out is darker than the bottom. But it takes a lot. It is a lot of lifestyle change, a very healthy amount of sleep, supplements, internal and external work. Because when we talk about Ayurveda, health is not just physical health. Health is not just mental health. Health is not just oral health or gut health. When we say health in Ayurveda, it's all aspects. It's a 360 aspect of health because you're combining your mental health, your emotional health, your spiritual health. Most people don't even talk about that. We only focus on the physical aspect. And if I
So
can
that's
bring
why they say mind, body, spirit, right?
Exactly. So
Right.
it is, as much as I try to balance it, and I think I've done a decent job in slowing it down the process, which was accelerated a few years ago, pausing it to a good extent, reversing it to some extent, but not completely.
So, my personal experience, I'll tell you, and then I'll come to the second question. I lost a lot of my hair in 2011. I'd bought a company in UK, and I was traveling like literally almost twice a month to UK. And I was talking to UK 4 o'clock in the morning, 4 to 8, do my daily rituals, come to the office at 10, and from 10 to 6 in US office. And by the time I was done, I had to talk to China from 6 to 7. By the time I was done, I was like literally gone. And going back and forth to UK and having a lot of stress of UK, I felt I'm losing all my hair. And I actually lost 80% of my hair in that 1 year. And I could attribute it to a lot of stress. And also because we were losing a lot of money in UK business at that time, it was extreme reason of stress, not only emotional business stress, it was also stress of traveling back and forth to UK, the timing stress, less sleep. So what do you think stress and emotion, how do they impact your body according to Ayurveda?
I mean, stress is the leading cause of all diseases, most diseases, and that's not just Ayurveda. I think modern science agrees with it. Some people have acne and pimples because they're highly stressed, because their cortisol levels are extremely high. And we have seen time to time, like stress is not causing damage on dark circles and skin and hair, which is just visible, but it's actually depleting the life from the organs inside your body. And no one really talks and goes deeper in that connection. Stress impacts your oral health, stress impacts your beauty, stress impacts your internal organs. Absolutely everything that you can imagine stress is impacting your heart health, absolutely everything. The difference between you losing hair and me prematurely growing gray is stress and heat. And that is where, going back to your previous question and connecting that is how dosha impacts your life. So stress is a Vata element, right? An excess air
I'm
element.
Vata Pitta. I'm very
Yes.
high Vata,
So
personally.
very high Vata. That's the reason you lost hair. So when you have too much dryness, that air is extremely dry, you lose hair. In my case, I am Pitta Vata. So in my case, I went premature gray hair, and when I try to balance it and control it, so I controlled my heat, but I didn't lose my hair as rapidly. And that's
She
how
was an
dosha
angry
impacts your
young
life.
woman, I would say, because Pitta Vata is like angry young woman, I would say.
Or passionate young woman, because that's
Passionate,
most.
angry young woman. Don't mess with you, kind of. Okay, that's great. We'll come to that question back again. But can you tell me what are the common misconceptions about Ayurveda that you encounter? Because you're talking to a lot of people every day.
I think the first misconception that people think is if they practice Ayurveda, they are practicing a religion, which is not true. Ayurveda is more about spirituality than religion. Yes, it started from the Vedas, but it's a medical practice. Most of all, when we only talk about Ayurveda itself, it's a branch of yoga, but we're talking about the oldest medical system in the world. And the second thing I think most people, when they come to me, they're like, well, I can't be vegetarian. And I'm always like, you don't have to be vegetarian to follow Ayurveda. Actually, because Ayurveda sees food as medicine, it sees everything that you're doing is either has positive impact, a neutral impact, or a negative impact on your body, especially when it comes to food. Ayurveda actually recommends non-vegetarian food to, Vata people especially, right? To kind of balance the
Yep,
the air element. And
exactly.
most
A
people
lot of
don't.
people didn't know that, and everybody thinks Ayurveda is 100% vegetarian. That is not true. And secondly, I encounter that a lot. I'm doing sun salutation or something at an airport, and people are like, "Are you Hindu?" Or means, of course, yes, I am, but that doesn't. You don't have to be a Hindu to practice yoga. Yoga is not a religion. It's like a form of connecting your body, mind, and together, and
Yeah.
mind, body, soul. And most people just conceptualize you looking at what you're doing. So that's not true. I agree. Thank you for clarifying to the audience. Next question is, how does Ayurveda approach chronic diseases differently from conventional medication? Because when I studied the same thing, you have a book of medicines and you don't ask too many questions. You just prescribe, okay, take amitriptyline for something, or take Zantac for something, or problem solution. That's how quick the conventional medication is. What is your thought? What is the difference?
So I think the biggest difference is I learned this on another podcast actually, where somebody described what modern medication does. They take a bunch of people, they do a clinical trial on 1,000 people, and then they see what is working for majority of people, and that is the solution. Now Ayurveda does the exact opposite. It takes an individual person and it has a pool of solutions, and then it says, tell me your lifestyle, tell me your diet, tell me all your problems, and then it pulls every single solution and make it adjustable for that one person. I think the biggest difference is it's a very individualized practice compared to modern medicine. Is the exact opposite. And that's why some people think Ayurveda is actually very slow in working. It's the exact opposite. It works much faster and it goes directly to the root cause, because it's not just addressing the symptom that's on the top. It's taking stress in consideration. It's taking your lifestyle in consideration. It's taking in consideration how much sleep you're getting. It's taking in consideration what time you wake up and what time you go to bed. So it is combining lifestyle. It is combining diet. It is combining everything, even before you were born. So interestingly, when my daughter was born, and it took me 3 years to kind of dive deep into, she's gluten sensitive. And it was a big struggle to figure out why this child is always coughing. And after she was diagnosed, okay, she has acid reflux. And the moment I got the answer of acid reflux, I'm like, I have to go dive deep into it and figure out what is causing it. It has to be something in her diet. And that's when I reached Ayurveda. It literally took me 6 months of treatments to strengthen her gut, even after I eliminated gluten. But the questions I was asked were fascinating. Like, what was your health when you were trying to conceive this child? So, Ayurveda goes so deep in recognizing the problem of a human being that is mind blowing to me. Like, it literally helped me connect the dots of the mistakes perhaps I made when I was trying to conceive my child. And that's why my two kids are so different from each other.
Such interesting thing. Most people in regular conventional medication, you have a problem, you get a pill for that. And if that pill creates another problem, you get another pill for that. And the cycle goes on and on. I actually encountered one of my friends' husband show me. I was shocked. He's on like 7 antipsychotic drugs and he's like a zombie. And I said, oh my God, you need to take him to ashram in India, let him be there without means obviously under supervision, without literally any medications, with very little food or no food for some time. And there's a place in India that they treat you like that in Kerala. And I said, otherwise this is like a never ending cycle. Starts with one medication and you end up with 7 before you know, and like a zombie. This is unreal. So yes, thank you for sharing that. Can you actually share some of the success stories either through your mom or yourself directly that are mind-boggling that you would like to share with the audience today?
Okay, I shall 2 stories.
Okay.
So one of my friends, mommy, her aunt, she had breast cancer. So she went through all her chemo treatments and everything. And when she was recovering, she realized she would have a rash on her body. She would go get steroids. She lived like 6-7 months like that, getting steroids. It would go away and it would appear somewhere else. And she actually still has marks from those rashes on her body. And then she was like, this is not working for me. Like, I can't keep taking steroids. This can't be the only solution. So she went to India. She went to an ashram, exactly what you suggested. They did a panchakarma for her and they gave her a custom diet and they eliminated a lot of things from her diet. Since then, she's been back. It's been about 12 years. She's never had that rash again. So something in her diet was triggering the rash that was not sitting right after the chemotherapies and before that she had the same diet, but after all the treatments, the body couldn't handle or was not capable of digesting the same food. And if she wouldn't have done that, she probably would have been on steroids for a long time. So since then, she's a firm believer.
A lot of people don't realize a lot of the digestion is done by the microbes in our gut, in our mouth, and chemotherapy and all these procedures are very important for a patient who's gone to that extent of getting cancer. But once chemotherapy is done, it could harm you in ways you don't even know. These microbes, once they're gone, their species have left our stomach or our mouth, they're gone, and we may be starting to be allergic to some stuff like gluten or fish or shrimp or something else. So I agree, it's very important to do that. When I was studying Ayurveda in Bangalore, I actually went through a panchakarma treatment of 21 days as a part of the study. And the most difficult part was the snepanam, which is drinking ghee. For people who've never done it, it's a pretty interesting thing. It literally cleanses you upside down from every angle of your body. You feel like almost as if you were reborn. So yes, for people who are interested, they should look it up, Panchakarma, and probably go to a good spot in India. If I can find some good links, I'll actually put it down in the links below that you can go try in India. US, there are some centers. I'm not convinced they're very authentic yet, but it's an amazing format. And the most difficult part is when you finished. Most people, once they are finished, they right away go on to eating all the junk. That is the number one mistake most people make, and don't ever make that, because I did it one time. My first panchakarma, and I am till date repenting upon that. So once you're done, you have to ease it into regular life for next 21 days back again. So 21 days of panchakarma and another 21 days to ease back is the most important thing. It's almost like shavasana. Most people in yoga think shavasana is, you can skip it. It's just lying down on the floor. No, that is probably the most difficult part of yoga. Once you master shavasana, you've mastered yoga. So most people don't get it, but that is the truth.
Dr. Lord, who brought Ayurveda to the West,
Vasant Lad, yes.
Dr. Vasant Lord, he has a Panchakarma center in Asheville that he has been, it's very new. It's still very new. I'm not sure if you're familiar with.
Asheville, North Carolina.
Correct.
Because he lives himself in Albuquerque, New Mexico, right? So
Now he
he's
goes
moved
back and
there.
forth. He's going
Okay.
back and forth. I was
Yeah,
actually
because
supposed to be there last
oh,
month.
great.
But the
He's pretty
flight
good
was
himself, but I see that he's aging up, and if he is still very active or not, because he is very good. I agree, but I'm a little worried that if he's aging up and if the Abhyanga guys who do the Abhyanga and if the people are very well trained, like in Kerala, you get a lot of those centers for 1/10 the cost.
Oh,
So
that's
people can go, take a flight, enjoy India, and get it all done for like 1/10 the cost. So maybe, or you can give me the link, and I'll be more than happy to put Asheville link as well.
in North
So,
Carolina.
yep. You want to talk quickly about the second
Yeah. So
success
my
story?
mother, she had every problem one can imagine. She had sciatica, high blood pressure. She couldn't sleep. She was taking sleeping pills to go to sleep. She had major migraines. Every problem one can imagine, she had it. And right when I was getting married, she was like, that Indian culture thing. Okay, I'm free now. She was always free, but then she felt like I'm extra free now. So she decided, okay, I'm going to go figure out all the answers to my health. Because in Spain, they were, again, the same system. They would give her one medication, another medication, another medication. It just kept going on and on and on. So she went to India, and she went to Bombay to the yoga center with Dr. Hansaji, and she got some answers, and she started with yoga. And I feel like every person who starts with yoga has to dwell to Ayurveda at some point. In her journey,
My
it's been
journey is about the same. I actually wrote a book called Wall Street Yoga. So I did the same. Conventional medicine wasn't cutting it. I knew it, but it wasn't cutting it. Went through yoga, went through Ayurveda, exactly the same route. So
yeah, and it's been 12 years she's been doing it consistently, and she's like it's my time for yoga, do not disturb. Like she's like she will give up everything for her routine. She sticks to it, and now she successfully helps other women do the same.
and
With
today
other
morning
people.
when we were talking 7 o'clock, I cut you off. I said, my time to do yoga. I can't. So exactly the
Yeah,
same way.
and it's fantastic. It's great to prioritize health. I think that is one of the only ways you can maintain. In Ayurveda, there's this saying, maintaining the health of the healthy is before curing the disease of the diseased. And if you can maintain your health while you're healthy, you're never going to get to the second part.
So, as I'm Vata personality, it's about strength, flexibility, and balance. So, balance is the one point that is missing badly in Vata people like me. So, I try to always keep that in mind. So, that's what I strive for always do. So let's come to the next question, which is the most important one here. What does Ayurveda suggest for preventing or healing oral infections such as gingivitis or periodontitis? What is your take on that? Because we are an oral care business, Guru Nanda, and I would love to know your perspective on your learning.
I'll share you my personal experience along with this and how I got into the journey of oil pulling. But the answer is cleaning your tongue and oil pulling. And I know it's not about one or the other. It's like brushing your teeth, cleaning your tongue, and oil pulling are all hand in hand. And I know most of the videos that I find online, people would be like, I oil pulled for 30 days and it didn't work. I'm like, well, you didn't brush. You're openly saying that. And where is the brushing?
Man, people have been making such a huge mistake. Like most of the dentists come to the TikTok and talk about oil pulling can't do this, oil pulling can't do that. But and I didn't brush for last 1 week and look how much black it is. Oil pulling is a complementary thing. It's not on its own. It's not. It would help you from where you stand. Exactly. So keep telling. I'm sorry to cut you
I
off.
think the most beneficial thing that comes out for oil pulling is not for your teeth, it's actually for your gums. And an overall, oral microbiome. And a lot of people don't consider that. It's either your teeth or your gums. But your saliva, an adequate amount of saliva in your mouth determines a good oral microbiome. If you don't have an adequate amount of saliva in your oral health, in your mouth, then you have dry mouth. That can lead to cavities. Like there's so many tiny little things that are interconnected when it comes to oral health. And people don't connect those dots. They only see, and that's why Ayurveda, it's a very ancient practice, but it's also time tested. I mean, there are hundreds and thousands of people that came out and said, oh my God, this has changed my life. My personal experience with Ayurveda, I had super sensitive. My entire mouth was so sensitive. I could not figure out what's going on. I go to the dentist and I have dental insurance and they give me this estimate of $8,000 because I used to eat a lot of candy as a child. and, and I was like, oh my God, how is it possible that all my teeth needs to be fixed at the same time? Like it just didn't sit right with my brain. I'm like, I'm going to go for a second opinion before jumping into it. And I was going to go home in like 30 days. I'm like, all right, Kirti, suck it up, figure it out. 30 days more of pain. So I went to Spain and I went to the dentist there. And she was like, I think you're grinding too much. And that's why your teeth are sensitive. And now it's, making your gums sensitive. And that's why it's become painful. And then I took a second opinion in Spain as well with another dentist. And he actually showed me, he's like, your teeth itself, they're fine. But the back of your molars, they're becoming flat now because you're grinding so much. And I really wish I didn't have to travel across to another continent to have the correct answer, And then I, of course, went back. My mom was like, I've been telling you, get on oil pulling. This is what needs to be done, good for oral health. And I was already practicing Ayurveda at that time, so I dived deep. And I think after a month, it was just so difficult to kind of stay consistent because we all know that chunk of, coconut oil. And I was doing it wrong too. My guru from Ayurveda, and she was like, no, you have to melt that oil. You can't just take a chunk of, that's going to imbalance your Vata. If you consistently do that. And that's when I discovered Guru Nanda. So the timing felt like right, back to back from each other. And I think I barely missed, in total, maybe 7 days in the last 2 years of oil pulling. It is just so important for me at this point.
So a lot of people I see have monkey brains, as they say. Tell
Monkey
me,
mind syndrome.
monkey mind syndrome, exactly. The almost like Tinder, they go left, right, left, right, left, right. Similarly, reels, they're swapping, swapping, swapping. They can't stick to watching the entire video. So does that apply to Ayurveda? What is your experience? Well, I feel something similar is going on with oil pulling. People come to it, use it for 2 days, and then stop using it. Like, what is your experience? Because
World of instant gratification. People want the problem that has built up over 30 days, a year. People want to see results in 2 days. I did oil pulling for 2 days. I don't see benefits. I've done it for a week. I don't see benefits. And my first answer to them is, how long did the problem, was growing underneath? How long did it take for the problem to come out? You were feeling pain for a week, but this problem didn't start a week ago. This problem has been going on for years, probably, and you just always ignored the small symptoms the body was giving you, and now you have a bigger symptom. But the root cause underneath is different. And I think that's one thing that most people now figure out the root cause. In my case, it was grinding. For some people, it is they sleep with an open mouth. Simply, They brush well, they floss well, everything is well, but they're just sleeping with an open mouth. So now that is causing an imbalance. That is causing too much air and dryness in their mouth, which is leading to excess cavities.
Actually, sorry to cut you back again. You're coming out with the right exact thing. So, number one, I'll ask you, what did you do for your grinding of teeth? Number two, let me tell you, mouth tape that I started making, literally, I made it originally for myself. And I used to do neti pot every day, but then I didn't have the time to do it, which is bad of me. But neti pot is something that kept my nose really open and I was nasal breathing. But then I realized when I wake up in the night, I sometimes have dry mouth and sometimes I wake up too often. So I looked it up on mouth taping aspect and it literally is life changing. That it made me sleep like nobody's business. And I felt that I need to make this product, and that's why we made it. But tell me about your grinding thing. How did you fix that?
So I started wearing a mouth guard very consistently. I went to a dentist. I got a mouth guard done because
So
if
you
you're
do
grinding
wear one today, like every day.
every night, yes. When I sleep, I wear a mouth guard, and I made sure that I am exercising almost every day. Our stress levels, so we grind because of high cortisol levels. One of the easiest and free ways of managing stress is exercise. And it is such a powerful thing and
Underrated. I agree.
underrated, yes, probably underrated thing that people do not understand the power you can get and how it really clears your brain. Not, and I feel like even if it's a walk, even if it's a 30-minute walk, 20-minute walk, I think everybody has that time in their day. So go get some fresh air. It's cold, it's raining, whatever it is, just put a jacket on. Just go outside, connect with the nature. That itself is going to help bring your cortisol levels down. The other thing I started doing was oil pulling because I really needed my gums to heal quicker because of all the swelling that was there. And of course, my molars are still pretty flat because I can't bring, the teeth are not going to grow back, but now at least they're strong. And that is like one of the most important things for me. I was able to kind of remineralize a little bit using oil pulling, changing my lifestyle and my diet, cutting out more on sugar. And recently, actually, I've been using your mouth tape and trying to see if I am a mouth breather because my daughter actually drew a picture and my mouth is she's like, Mama, this is
It
how you
is
sleep.
mind blowing how it changes your
Yeah.
entire, literally, next day morning. I feel like I have more energy, and I've been literally lately been dousing myself with castor oil and showering with warm water after, and then tapping myself with towel. I feel like my body has double the energy. My skin seems so much moisturized. I literally, between oil pulling and I treat this as abhyanga. For me, as a Vata personality, as a person who thinks all the time, can't stick to ideas, high air personality, it's just mind blowing. These three practices: mouth taping, again oil pulling, and using castor oil all over my body. These three practices alone are pretty mind blowing. Plus, I do intermittent fasting lately, which is again an amazing practice. So, since we're running on time, I will ask you some quick questions that maybe you can answer them in short. What are the specific daily rituals that you do for oral health? What would you suggest as daily rituals?
I think tongue cleaning is the first thing. I wake up, the first thing I do is clean my tongue. Then I oil pull, then I brush my teeth. And at nighttime, I floss my teeth and I brush my teeth. Because I think if we overcomplicate life, then we can't sustain it. So a lot of people also think they need to oil pull for 20, 30, 40 minutes. You don't need to oil pull for that long, especially if you're using something like cocoa or ashwagandha oil pulling, because it is infused with so many additional herbs that actually accelerate the benefit even within 2 minutes. So I think this is another misconception that is out there, that you need to oil pull for 20 minutes, but I don't think so. You
I
only
do
work.
it for
I usually work
5,
for 2 minutes. I do 2 minutes and I'm out. I
which
got
is
two little
good.
kids.
Means I do it more because I feel like I need at least 5 minutes of meditation. So I close my eyes, I'm in the water, and I'm oil pulling and I'm just meditating. That's
And the
my
good
kind
thing
of
is you
ritual.
also get a nice jawline. The longer you do it, the
Yep.
the more snug jawline. It's a facial exercise,
Thank you.
right? So you're
Thank
getting
you.
multiple
It's
benefits.
called mouth yoga. It's called face yoga.
Face yoga.
Oil
Yeah.
pulling has also got a second name called face yoga. By the way, coming quickly to the next question, how does meditation play its role in Ayurveda?
I think it's one of the things that everyone should be doing. And if you can't just sit still in one place and meditate, practice pranayama, practice breath work. And I've always said, like, meditation is not for everyone, even though everyone should meditate. But you can literally pick and choose one or the other thing, or maybe both if that is more your thing. And the reason it is important is because, especially now, we are living in a world where we want everything quickly, fast. We're losing the fact that patience is a very important thing. And meditation teaches you how to be patient. It gives you more mental clarity. Like, there's so many times where I don't know, I'm like, I don't know what I need to create as content today. And the first thing I do is I go for a walk and I take these deep breaths. I do some pranayama on my walks and I come back with tons of ideas because it's giving me this mental clarity. And I think with yoga and Ayurveda, as they don't see health as one aspect, it sees 360 view. Again, coming back down to that 360 view, you have to implement and do something for up here, for your brain to be healthy, for your mental health. And
Very
how do you
important.
prioritize mental health? One of the easiest way is breath work, aka pranayama, and meditation.
The next question would be, what do you think? How can Ayurveda be integrated with modern medication for holistic care, like for emergency situations? Like if I'm in an accident, I'd obviously go to the hospital, but how should the integration be? What is your idealistic view?
I mean, Ayurveda is not just about herbs, right? It's a lot of prevention. And I think especially modern science, does not teach us prevention. It doesn't teach us focusing, prioritizing sleep. It doesn't teach us focusing on taking care of yourself. And we're going back to the same concept, maintaining the health of the healthy. So if you start maintaining your health while you're still healthy, you're not going to get to the other side. In case of emergency, of course, we all run to the ER when we need a quick answer. But for every day, if you just wake up, give yourself that 5 minutes, do some meditation rather than picking up your phone in the bed. If you just do that oil pulling, do take care of your oral health, because your oral health is connected to your gut health. Then you eat healthy food. So you are actually taking care of your gut health. That is resulting into good skin. Good gut health is also giving you good cognitive health. So now you are literally taking care of every aspect of your body. And what most people think is Ayurveda, I need to run and buy ashwagandha. I need to run and buy, something that.
And a lot of people are taking ashwagandha gummies that are loaded with sugar, apple cider gummies. So I was reading on Reddit, one lady, she said, I've been eating these apple cider vinegar gummies. Apple cider is was supposed to get me weight loss. She was eating like 18 gummies a day. So in 2020, she said she gained about 14 pounds more instead of losing because she just couldn't stop eating them.
Okay, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but I'm going to say this. Gummies are a scam. Just
I, oh, gummies are candies. You said it exactly right. Gummies are a way where you are doing a sin thinking it's okay. This is like medication. This is like maybe not that bad. So you're actually supplementing yourself and you're literally causing a lot more harm to your body.
100%. If you think in the broader way, like, how is anything that has sugar going to benefit you consisting every day? Isn't sugar just depleting the benefits that are coming from ashwagandha? And
Everything. I think people totally do not realize that we eat means I've given up on sugar, but most people eat almost 20 times more sugar, and some people 100 times more sugar. With the newer GLP-1 things like Ozempic and everything, they are saying, I was talking to a food manufacturer, they are saying they are projecting to go down. Their stock is dropping because people have started eating less. I said, what do you mean? They says the way the Ozempic and all these things are progressing, they assume that in next, and this is a $1 billion plus several $1 billion company, they are projecting decelerating growth in next 10 years because people now cannot eat as much because of the Ozempics of the world. I think there is a lot more harm in that too that is yet not come to the forefeature, but I think people just need to control and not just binge eat. We're in an eating society, like excess eating society, that is causing 80% of the harm. But it was so good to talk to you, Kirti. Before we end the session, people who want to follow Kirti's on TikTok, Kirti Tewani, she's on Instagram. She's very popular on both the platforms. Kirti, do you have one liner to say to the audience? Anything? I'll put her details down in the remarks section. But Kirti, anything else you have to say as a closing line to the audience here?
Because we were talking about sugar, I'm going to just state a fact out that I think a lot of people are not aware of. Everything you eat, except for protein, is sugar.
Exactly.
It's a
And
fact.
I did not know, personally, having studied science, medicine, everything, I did not know that all carbs are sugar, literally.
Even
Bread,
vegetables,
baked,
even fruits, everything
almost.
turns into sugar.
So when I say dal and roti, people don't realize dal has enough carbs. You don't need roti. And if you want to eat in moderation, means everything in moderation, including moderation. That's my mantra. And I believe that we are all microbes. Literally, the whole body is a mixture of so many microbes that we are a walking big microbe, if you can say that. And
Focus
that's
on
what I
prevention.
believe.
I think that's one thing that
Exactly.
most people don't understand, that there's a big power in prevention. And if you
So
start,
Ayurveda is all about prevention. Emergency medicine is modern medicine, and we need to just walk the
well,
fine
Ayurveda
line.
has curative side to it,
Yes,
but it is
absolutely.
emphasis more on prevention.
Exactly. They want you not to have to go to the curative
Exactly.
part of it. Like they don't want you to go to the panchakarma. Panchakarma is not for everybody. They want you to just live a lifestyle that can fix the
100%.
problems. Thank you
100%.
so much, Kirti. Thank you for your time today, and thank you for being with us. I
Thank
will
you for having
talk
me.
to you again. Thank you.